Who would you rather manage your football club, Arsene Wenger or Jose Mourinho? Would you want the roller coaster ride of the trophy-laden Jose Mourinho or the consistency and experience of Arsene Wenger? In the red corner, we've got Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV. And in the previously blue corner, Joe from the Football Daily, fighting the cause of Jose Mourinho. The boys are going to be battling out, but it's you who decide the winner through the poll cards. We want you to make 2 votes during the show. One after the boys make their opening statements, and then one at the end of the show, which is the final decision. So let's get started with the opening statements. Robbie, you're going to go first. Right down the lens. Why would you pick Arsene Wenger to be your manager over Jose Mourinho? Off you go.
Class. Class. A manager that, you know, is like a statesman, you know, he doesn't go around poking people in their eye. He's a guy that's full of class, full of dignity. Why do you think England want him as their manager? Classy to the last, and he wins things as well.
Okay, that's Robbie's opening statement. Joe, off you go, mate.
I think your description of a statesman was apt. It's a man who will not resign from his position, pretty much, Arsene Wenger. But Jose Mourinho, serial winner, been absolutely everywhere. The most adaptable man in world football. He's done it in Italy, he's done it in Portugal, he's done it in Spain. He's done it in England. He's won trophies every single place he's been. He went 9 years between 2002 and 2011 without losing a league game at home. That is ridiculous. That is something Arsene Wenger could only dream of recently. And there's simply no match really here between success and fake longevity.
Okay, there you go. So that's the opening statements. Now you can do your first vote. So go to the poll card and click if you think Robbie has convinced you or if Joe has convinced you. Let's just talk about the relationship between these two first off. Jose Mourinho, first press conference, couldn't wait to kind of stick the boot in. Loves to do that. Why do these two hate each other so much, Robbie?
The big reason, I think, is like I mentioned, class. Is that he sees Arsene Wenger as this classy figure that has been there like a rock throughout all these years, and then he looks at himself, sees that, you know, no matter what he does, he's had a lot of success. Listen, there's no denying he is a great manager. He's had a lot of success, but he still just doesn't have that same air of class that Arsene Wenger has. So I think it really pisses him off, and that's why he carries on like how he does.
Would you agree with that?
Simply the reason that they hate each other is Jose Mourinho is the master of the mind game. Jose Mourinho has got in Arsene Wenger's head a ridiculous amount of times. I don't think Arsene Wenger's ever...
He's got in his own head.
I don't think Arsene Wenger's ever beaten him in a league game competitively. I think that pretty much sums up the argument as to why they hate each other so much. Jose Mourinho, every single time, gets in his head, beats him on the field, beats him off the field, and Arsene Wenger has no answer.
If I had a great record over somebody, why would I hate them? Why would I hate them and always beat them? You know, what is there something else that's worrying him? That he you know, he's still got to hate? Because if I'm always beating somebody, I don't need to hate them. I'm like, yeah.
It's not a matter of hatred. Jose Mourinho doesn't hate Arsene Wenger. Jose Mourinho.
What are we talking about him?
Well, it's the same way that Alex Ferguson never hated Kevin Keegan, but he knew he could get under his skin. The more he talked about him, the more he thought about him. It's the same way that Jose Mourinho thinks about Arsene Wenger. The more he gets under Arsene Wenger's skin, the less time Arsene Wenger concentrates on the pitch, the more he spends nit-and-nattering with Jose Mourinho off it, and that effectively worked every single time. That's why
and what he ends up doing is he then eventually gets under everybody else's skin, and then they get rid of him.
Well, maybe so.
Joe has got a good point. I think it's 13 games Jose Mourinho has never lost to Arsene Wenger. But should that mean anything, or does that suggest that Jose Mourinho is better at those mind games? Because we know that he does stick the boot in, does like to work the needle a little bit, and he's also winning those games. So is he a bit smarter in the dark arts than Arsene Wenger as a manager?
I don't think it's mind games. I think, listen, as I said, he's a very good manager. Very, very good manager, especially tactically. And he's always had that sort of tactical nous against Arsene Wenger when he plays him, setting up very ultra defensively and just catching Arsenal on the counter-attack. And he sort of, in that way, worked out that Arsene Wenger's philosophy is an attacking sort of flair style of football, which he's very anti, but he's worked that out and he's had a great record against him. Nothing to do with mind games. The guy's like that with practically everybody. You know, he's a nasty piece of work at the end of the day sometimes. So I don't think it's no particular mind games. I think manager-wise, he's had it over Arsene Wenger.
The important thing with this question is that you'll have your Arsenal brigade who might go for Arsene Wenger. You'll have your Man United and your Chelsea fans who maybe go for Jose Mourinho. But for any other fan of any other club, so I don't know, like a Southampton or a West Ham or any of those guys, what has Jose Mourinho got that you would want as your manager over Arsene Wenger? I'll ask you first, Joe, and then vice versa with you, Rob.
Jose Mourinho will win you games. It doesn't matter where you are. Let's not forget that just because he's managed recently massive teams and carried them to massive success, that means that he couldn't manage a lower team. Let's not forget that Porto, he took to a Champions League final and won it with them. Okay, they had a fantastic squad, but this was not an established team. The likes of Real Madrid, Manchester United, he went past in that competition. And so just because he's managed huge teams in recent years doesn't mean he couldn't do it with a lower team. If you're the likes of Southampton and Jose Mourinho was offered to you, you would say yes to him. There's no two ways about it. You would want a serial winner who will guarantee you success. That's what it comes down to in modern day football.
Sorry.
And the other side, I guess, what Arsene Wenger has done, he's built a club, hasn't he, with Arsenal? I mean, we were a big club, but he's been a huge part of that.
He builds clubs. Basically, Arsene Wenger will come in.
He's built our club.
He's built our club, but because he's been so loyal at that club. But he will build a club. He will build it from the youth system right up, and he will create a style of football that is attractive, that people enjoy watching. Whereas Jose Mourinho, as I said, great manager, but he always goes into clubs that has massive budgets. I don't agree with you when you say about Southampton. I think if he went to Southampton, he wouldn't win anything, because basically he has to go into a club that has a massive budget, right? Like what he's done now with Man United, like what he's done with Chelsea. When he was at Porto, they were the #1 team in Portugal. Had it like you said.
Yeah,
they had a great squad. Inter Milan, you know, best team at that time. Some of the other clubs had even been relegated at that time. He had a free run. He's very tactical in the clubs that he takes over. Look how long he waited around till he got that Man United job. Hovered around, tried to, gone from Chelsea.
That means nothing. That means that Pep Guardiola had a year out
because as I said, he's very tactical in his moves that he makes. I don't agree with you when you say he'd go to Southampton and he'd win in the league. Sorry.
I'm not saying he would win you the league. I also probably don't think he would win you the league, but I would say you're looking at an FA Cup or something like that if you're Southampton, you'd be to jump from 8th, 9th position in the league to first in the league in one season. He's not a miracle worker, but I'll tell you now, he'd do more than Arsene Wenger would at that club.
Well, where's the evidence of that? Where's the evidence? We've seen Arsene Wenger over the years.
The evidence is
no. The evidence at a smaller club, or the evidence at a club that not smaller, evidence at a club that's got less budget. We've seen over the years Arsene Wenger with practically no money to spend at Arsenal and still keep them up
he's
there.
Had loads of money
still
to spend.
Keep them in European football. No, but over the past couple of years, he's had money to spend. But previous to that, it's well documented that Arsene Wenger did not have the money to spend because of the stadium build. Every year losing players.
But you blaming Jose Mourinho for that?
But still, I'm going to get to my point. Still keeping the team consistent.
Yeah.
Still making the team win games. Still keeping the team in Europe. Would Jose Mourinho, if he had that, one little bit of turmoil this season at Chelsea, the whole thing fell apart. He nearly had them relegated at one stage.
That's it. We asked you guys what you thought about this. We did a Twitter poll, and it was very close. Probably as close as this debate, because it's pretty tight at the moment, in my mind at least. 51% went with Mourinho. I was expecting a bit more from Mourinho because the top line is he's got all those...
Twitter, isn't it? Arsenal Twitter. I love it.
That's the next myth.
It's very tight there, but Robbie's talking about the bringing through a club, and I guess the stuff that's not on the pitch, the fact that he hasn't been able... Well, Wenger wasn't able to spend that much money for a period of time. The other thing with Arsene Wenger is that he's brought through a hell of a lot of youth team players. As a football fan, that is important. As a Man United fan, that is important to you. That's not something that Mourinho has done.
Here's my one question for Robbie.
Look out Marcus Rashford.
Here's my one question for Robbie. In the coming season, 2016-17, how many of your starting 11 will be academy products?
Will be Iwobi.
Is he going to start for you in that team now? You've signed Xhaka as well. Where's he going to start?
Yes, he was starting towards the end of the season.
But that's because you were going right off the boil.
He was starting towards the end of the season.
Right, so one.
Right, Iwobi, Jack Wilshere.
There's no way Wilshere starts for you next season.
How do you know that? How do you know if Jack Wilshere's fit? How do you not know
You've just signed Granit Xhaka for 30 million.
How do you not know that?
Why sign a 30 million player if you're such an academy producer?
Well, wait and see. Arsene Wenger gives players a chance.
Over the history of the English Football League, Arsene Wenger, his average league position is the second best out of any manager of all time.
Incredible. Yeah, I cannot argue with the point of how long he has been at a club and how many players he has since brought through from a youth system at one club that he's been there for that long. That is almost Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson. Loyalty, fantastic,
Something
well
that
done.
Mourinho don't know
But
about.
I'll tell you now, that other clubs, i.e. lower end teams, would you rather win trophies or would you rather spend your time in 4th position and just see the occasional academy? All right, sorry, 2nd, up a few. But would you rather finish runners-up, which is effectively losers? Would you rather lose and see your academy graduates play, or would you win the league?
Joe has got a very good point there, because Mourinho, in a full season, he's never finished lower than 3rd. So that success is guaranteed.
Ferguson did it every year.
There's a lot of people saying, you know, we know about the Wenger out, Wenger in thing. A lot of people were getting frustrated at the fact that you weren't getting the trophies that Arsenal fans believe that you should be getting. So does that put Mourinho ahead of Wenger when you've got that guaranteed success?
You know, can I just rewind slightly back to the youth
you've got to get to my point.
Yeah.
To the youth policy, yeah?
Go for it.
Right? We all know that Mourinho doesn't bring through young players.
This is one hole.
Simple. All those clubs you named and all the successes.
Yeah.
Who's he brought through his young players?
Yeah,
Hardly
hole,
anybody. I mean, he when he was at Chelsea, he had a youth team there that they win everything. I've got 2 friends that are in the Chelsea. They win everything, and not one of them ever got a chance to play in that Chelsea first team.
That is his one hole.
Because this guy is a selfish guy that just goes into clubs and says, right, I'm just going to get, basically, I just want to win. So I'm just going to get all the components to win something, then he's off. It is. When you get Jose Mourinho at your club, it's like you've made a pact with the devil. Yeah? That's what it's like. The devil will promise you lots of nice things. And for the first year, he'll deliver. So that's what Mourinho will do.
Yeah.
But beware of the next 2. He'll leave the place in a mess. He'll destroy that, break it down. You'll be looking to run him out of the club in the end. That's Jose Mourinho.
But what about this, Robbie? Arsene Wenger has not delivered with trophies like Jose Mourinho has. That is football. A huge part of it is about winning trophies.
A lot of that.
So how can you say that Mourinho is not a better manager than Wenger?
No, a lot of that is because Arsene Wenger has been loyal to one club, right? And has stuck through one club for a very long time, a long period of time where the resources were not there and set up for him to be able to buy those type of top quality players to win things. Now, basically, let's break it down.
Is that an excuse you can use now in the last few years? Because you have had money.
Jose Mourinho is a very, and I do not deny that he's a brilliant manager, but he's a mercenary. So basically, he goes to one club, wins something. As soon as it starts to go a bit wrong, he's gone. Then he'll go to Real Madrid, win something, mess that up, he's a mercenary. Give me 5 years at a club.
Let's not forget.
And let me see how you do over 5 years.
Let's not forget he's 13 years younger than Arsene Wenger as well, so he could well come.
Let's see that. Just spend 5 years at a club.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe I might change my opinion.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you at United he'll be gone in the next couple of years.
Okay. Future predictor. I don't know how he can predict that unless you've got some sort
I'm going off of his past because I'm going off of his past record.
I'll tell you what, okay, final question before your closing statements.
Okay.
So you've got Mourinho, who, when he goes to a club, they pretty much win the league every single time when they go in that first season. He has that power. So at Man United, you've spent well. He's there. It's his first season, so that's all geared up for him there. Arsene Wenger, he's had long enough, and he's now got the money to be having a title challenge. Who out of these 2 teams is going to finish higher in the league? Because I think you're both in an element now. Both managers are in an element where they should be doing very well if they're as good as they say they are.
If Wenger doesn't win the league, forget about challenging it. If he doesn't win the league, he has to hang the title up himself and say, look, I can't do it with Arsenal. I'm letting the fans down. I've got to go. Jose Mourinho could finish 2nd this year and United fans will consider it a success.
What do you say to that, Robbie? Would you agree with that?
Huh? They've got a diabolical squad.
No. Would you agree with if Wenger doesn't
It's
win the league? Is he right? If Wenger can't finish above Mourinho's Man United when they've got the squad that they had last season, does that make Mourinho better than Wenger? Surely it does.
Arsene Wenger is not without faults as well. Arsene Wenger, what I'm watching very closely to see is what he does in the transfer market. Yeah. If Arsene Wenger brings in a very good striker, I think we've got a very good chance of winning the league. We've knocked on the door over the past couple of years, but where we've fallen short is in that striker department, not scoring enough goals. So I kind of reserve my judgment on it until I see.
He doesn't, do you sack him?
Until I see. Well, he's going to leave anyway, isn't he? He's in the last year of his. He's in the last year of his contract. I'd say that if he didn't at least challenge for the league this year, right? you know, I'm in challenge. I mean, we finished second, but we
They've
didn't
both
really
dodged
challenge.
it long enough, right?
Right,
We're going to
so-
move on to our closing statements. So you've had your first vote
dodge
after
it.
the opening statements.
it.
It's now the closing statement time. So listen to that. This is your final vote after that to decide who would you rather have as manager, Arsene Wenger or Jose Mourinho. Robbie, I think you went first last time, so Joe, you can go first with your closing statement.
I would rather have Jose Mourinho at my club because he is successful recently. That is the key factor here. Recently, he has been successful. He's a treble winner. Not many managers can say that. Sir Alex Ferguson only did it once, and he's considered one of the greatest managers in the history of the game. Jose did it in Italy with Inter Milan. And just to take a couple of quotes from ex-Arsenal players, which is going to be key here. Cesc Fabregas, a man who was brought through the academy by Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. I interviewed him recently and he said his most influential manager was Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. Says it all. Patrick Vieira, the captain of his Invincible side in 2004, says the most influential manager he's worked under is Jose Mourinho. That sums it up. Jose Mourinho, you want him at your club.
Glad you mentioned that. Number one, Invincibles, something that Jose Mourinho's never done Invincibles. And it was great that you mentioned Cesc Fabregas, because if he was playing for Jose Mourinho right from the start, we'd never even know who he was, because he'd probably be playing for Vitesse Arnhem or somebody like that. We would have never seen the light of day. Listen, Arsene Wenger's got class. Arsene Wenger's style of football. Where does that phrase, parking the bus, come from? Boring, boring Chelsea, boring football. That's Jose Mourinho. If you thought Van Gaal was bad, you wait till this geezer gets in there and he just parks up the bus, because he's a win at all costs guy. So he will do whatever it takes to try and win, wreck your club, as I said, and then he'll be gone. That is what he's done throughout his, that's not me making this up. That's what he's done throughout his career. Go to a place, win something, wreck it, go, repeat, sleep, or whatever they say.
Brilliant.
Dear me.
So there you go. The boys have battled it out, but it's you guys who decide. Check out the poll cards now and make your final vote on who you think is right now. If you've enjoyed this battle, don't forget there are other episodes of You Decide right here, so click on them right now. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to Ball Street.